We're in the business of providing software products that help in customer engagement. And today, I'm going to talk to you about some ideas around how you can create moments of wow for your customers at scale. So quick background on Freshworks itself. Our mission is to help you create moments of wow. We are 7 years old, more than 150,000 customers globally, backed by the likes of Google Capital, Sequoia, etc. And we have a suite of products which are all in the customer engagement space. Made 9 acquisitions to date. Incidentally, my company, my startup was also acquired by Freshworks. That's how I got into the company. And we have offices in 5 different countries. We have Bobby here with us today from our, who leads our North America in GTM. All right, I'm going to start with a video. Hold on. All right, how many F1 fans out here? Okay, a few. So that was like a 56-second clip. How much time do you think it actually took for the work to happen, the changing the tires, refueling, all of that? 2.5 seconds, that's right. It's under 3 seconds, right? So what if the driver in the car is your customer, right? And the team that was really on the sidelines making all those changes is your customer service or customer experience team. Would you think this sort of an experience would have wowed your customer? It certainly would have, right? I mean, everything's so fast and accurate, right? And if you think about it, there are so many different variables that exist in something like F1, right? There's a day when there's rain on the track. There's a day when maybe something goes wrong in the car and additionally needs to be replaced. There's a day when the driver decides to come into the pit stop a little later due to a change in strategy, which means maybe they need to refuel differently, right? And still, every time, they manage to do this in a perfect way, very quickly, if you'd notice. And what does it actually take for you as an organization to deliver such an experience to your customers, right? That's something I wanted to put out there so that we all start thinking about how we can transform our organizations into delivering a wow experience to our customers. So a few things you would notice from the video. It's a lot about planning and preparation, right? So you could see how much time they were waiting out there before the car came in with, making sure that everything is right. A guy actually removed something from the tarmac over there, right? And they were all prepared with the right tools, right? How much time does it take for us to fill fuel when we go to a gas station, right? Versus how quickly that happened here. They had the right tools to actually refuel so quickly. And there's obviously no silos here, right? Everyone's focused on the customer. They're not passing the parcel. Like, they're not saying, hey, you come to me first, I'll change one tire, I'll send you to the next guy, he changes the next one, and so on. Instead, it's all happening in parallel. Everyone has one single focus: how do I help the customer, right? And of course, ownership. Everyone knows what they are in charge of, and they get their job done. And there's probably one person who's coordinating all of these. So it's not about moving from department to department, but instead, that focus helps them have that ownership. And why should you care about creating a wow experience for customers, right? A customer with a wow experience tells at least 9 other people about their experience. And I'm going to have to share some experiences over here, some wow moments that we've seen, some wow moments that you have experienced. How many of you have seen the WestJet Christmas video? Okay, there's a few. I'm not going to play it out here, but I suggest those of you that haven't seen the video can look it up on YouTube. It's basically like this Christmas miracle sort of video where people flying in from airport A to airport B, they tell Santa what they want before they board the flight. When they get off the plane, they actually get all of those. There's a guy who asked for a new pair of socks and got that. Someone else who asked for a 50-inch TV and got that. So whatever they wished for was made to come true. And this was really a viral video, right? So many people looked at it. I learned about it because someone shared it with me. There's quite a few of you over here who have seen the video as well. And I think it is a wow moment, but clearly creating something like that is, it's a marketing wow moment, right? It's not something that we can do in our daily lives with our customers. We're not all going to go promising gifts to them and deliver those on a daily basis. So how do you actually create wow moments at scale, not just as a marketing gimmick? Do any of you recollect any great customer experiences you had recently? There is a gift to be won? Yeah. Go for it. Perfect. Awesome. Anyone else have a story to relate? Yeah.
I left my wallet on a plane recently with about $400 in cash.
Uh-huh.
And didn't know it until I got it in cash. I paid like 30 minutes later. And I ended up getting it back within an hour and a half and had everything in it.
Okay. How did it reach you? The plane folks. Nice. Right. So that was an example where you had a negative experience. You were in trouble, lost your wallet, and then you managed to get it back. And I think those stories are always, nice to hear as well, right? A turnaround where you were in a moment of misery of sorts, and then it turned into a moment of magic for you. So, okay, we're going to pick a winner later and get you something. But yeah, I think one of the things we've noticed as a trend is, no problem. So, let's say everything went well for you, a regular experience. You got off the plane, you didn't forget your wallet. It would have been a good experience, right? It was fine. So you'd probably rate it, 8 or 9. But let's say something went wrong, and then the brand or the business behind the experience turned it around for you. That increases your trust in that business, right? That's when you actually earn a 10, when something goes wrong and you manage to recover phenomenally from that and wow the customer. This is one of my recent wow moments. So I was visiting a partner, and on the coffee that they served me, they had our logo. And I was like, wow, that's really neat, right? I'm going to relate one more story. Again, a lost wallet, not on the plane though, in the airport. A colleague of mine, Arun, recently lost his wallet in an airport. He couldn't find it. He ended up calling all of his credit card companies as the first thing he did to tell them to cancel the card, right, so that it doesn't get misused. He had 5 cards, and his experience with one of the card companies stood out. I'm not going to name which company, but it was superlative as compared to others, and it was such a wow moment that he told us in office, I'm telling this back to you, and I'm sure you may narrate it to someone else later, right? So most of them did their job, right? So they said, hey, you know what? Which was your last transaction? Okay, that's done by you, confirmed. I'm canceling the card. A new card will be shipped to you within X working days, right? That's what you would expect. In one of the cases, it went beyond that. So it's not about, of course, they were a little more personal in their approach, saying, hey, I understand how you feel now. Don't worry, everything's going to be fine. But that's not the interesting part, right? So they actually said, hey, I noticed that you're a frequent traveler and you're right now in an airport. So if you're headed somewhere else, do you want the card to be delivered to you at a hotel, or should we ship it to your home, right? So that's one thing which they were proactive about, and to add to it, once he got off the call, he actually got an email which had a list of services to which he had used his credit card often, right? So he had probably put his card on file with these 10 services. And he got a mail saying, hey, these are services where you use us regularly. You may want to go and update your card info on these services so that you don't have any outage, right? So think about that. It's proactive. It's solving your problem before you know it's going to hit you. And it saves you the trouble of having to go through your emails and different services and figure out which card you're using where. And what did this actually need? It probably did not need AI and ML to accomplish this, right? It probably needed someone thinking through what are the possible issues that our customers will face. And for each of these issues, probably here are a set of things we need to check in order to ensure that we are delivering a better experience or a wow experience for them. So yeah, that's one of the themes that we focus on as a company. How do we help businesses with proactive support, right? So how do you really map out all your problems in a way in which you can think through all possible scenarios where things can go wrong for your customers and use each of those as an opportunity to wow your customer. So we also thought about what leads to wow moments, and this is a framework I use in general to think through what are these opportunities where we can actually wow our customers, right? One is, of course, is there an element of surprise you can create, and can you be proactive about problems before they happen? One is, of course, how do you make your customers feel special, right? And this is the case where you talked about the cake that came your way. I showed you coffee with our logo on it, visiting a partner. So these are experiences that make you feel special, right? Of course, there's also delivering an experience that's worth remembering and sharing again, which again I think the WestJet ad is probably one of those experiences where I'm never going to forget seeing that ad, and I'm sure those of you who have seen it will remember it as well, right? And then there is the turnaround story, which I think is one of the most powerful ones, which we don't use today, which is about understanding all kinds of problems that your customers can have with, face. There's no business here that doesn't face customer problems, right? How much ever automation you bring in, whatever you do, there are going to be scenarios where things go wrong. So how do you plan around those is one of the best ways, I would say, to deliver moments of wow at scale. So what do you need to make this happen? Of course, these are all the buzzwords which we would hear as things that we need. And I think while we are making significant investments, I'm sure all of us are in ML, AI, and NLP. I don't think any of these is still at a point where we can just depend on these to turn customer experiences into wow moments. So I'm going to say it's not about this. It's more about being prepared, organizing your business in a way in which everyone's customer-centric, and making sure that we deliver an experience which ensures fast, accurate responses to customers and allows customers to really engage at their convenience. I think these are two places which are in our control even before ML and AI really change things for us, right? Fast, accurate responses. Can you automate some of them? That's one angle. Engagement at your convenience. This is about which channels you're available in. So if a customer wants to reach out to you while they're using your mobile app, have you made it easy for them to do it? If they're on social, have you made it easy for them to reach out? And have you made it easy for them to engage at their convenience without timing them out of the experience? I think earlier in the day, one of our friends from Lithium was talking about the messaging versus chat. I think that's a great way to look at it as well, right? Are we moving towards experiences which put the control in the customer's hand? So here's a story. We recently implemented chatbots for one of our customers. This is a very large payment company in Asia. And you can see what people are tweeting about it. Love the way how your support feature works. And AI responds immediately. It wasn't AI, but they call it AI because it's automated, right? One customer's talking to a different brand, a competitor, saying, "Hey, look at how this company does it. You should do it too." And they're talking about how support in the app is automated and super useful. And here is why people get that perception that this is actually delivering wow to customers. So this customer operates at tremendous scale. They have more than 2 million issues or tickets raised in their system every month, right? So that's the kind of scale you're talking about. And they managed to accomplish 40% of these getting resolved within the bot experience, right? And that doesn't come from ML or AI really. That came from actually, coding 400 plus workflows into the bot. So by coding, I don't mean writing code, but really programming workflows, right? So you identify more than 400 different ways in which customers would need support for you, and you've sort of built those decision trees out. And that's when you start seeing the real impact. So we have seen people excited about bots, but not wanting to invest into it, invest your time into it even, right? So you just want it to work automatically or automagically, figuring out what the customer needs. Or you're trying to automate, let's say, 5 or 6 of your biggest issue types. But that doesn't really generate a wow experience because maybe 90% of people are having a bad experience trying to engage with that bot first up. Instead, if you focus on this as an ongoing project where you're going to keep automating more and more on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, that's when you start seeing real results from it. And I think the first half was, of course, automating on the customer side. Now the company is also doing similar to what Janelle talked about at Uber, an agent assist bot, right? Where new agents coming into the system, looking at a customer issue, have that sort of workflow or decision tree at their end as well, where the bot is guiding them through different steps they need to take. So it does become easier to onboard agents at scale. So what do you need to get chat and bots right in your business? I'm going to just skim over this because I think we already covered this in one of the previous sessions. But the idea is to move from a typical live chat experience to a more modern messaging experience. So here are some of the things you might have noticed in old school chat, right? Availability is based on staffing. If there's no one around or if everyone's busy, the chat disappears. So that's not a consistent experience for customers. If they come to your website thinking they should be able to chat with you, they should be. Session-based, right? So you don't have to, typical live chat, one session at a time. If you if your session was ended for whatever reason, you come back, you have to start all over again. Instead, this is more about continuous conversations. Then there's, of course, the older chat was more transaction-based. Now it's more about the relationship, right? You treat the other person not as a chat or a ticket, but as a person, because you have that full history of engagement with that person right there. And of course, chat was more channel-specific, worked on websites for most part. Messaging can work across your social, across web, across in-app, all of these channels. And of course, retaining history versus one thread with all the history right there. And sorry. I think about bots, getting the bot piece right. Again, it's all about how much preparation we're doing for getting this right? It's not about just a tool. A tool is an enabler, but we need to put in our efforts into what are those hundreds of workflows that we need to automate in order to show the right options to the user at the right points in time and take them to the right journey. And it's also about providing or building that knowledge base the right way from which a bot can understand and pick information as well. So I think that's sort of what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Want to leave you with one quote. I think this is attributed to Maya Angelou, where she said, "People forget what you said, but they remember how you made them feel." Same applies for customers as well, right? Customers are not going to remember how you told them, what words you used to give them an answer to a support query that came from them, but they will remember how you made them feel through the communication you did or the experience you provided them. That's all I had. Thanks.
Thank you, Sri, and thank you. You can have a question. I think I had a little chat with you before it started. You are an entrepreneur from nature, and Freshworks bought your company. Is that how it is? So we were talking about the executive sponsorship and everything. So now, being acquired by Freshworks, how challenging it is to talk to the executives now to get your vision done throughout your company.
I think the timing was probably pretty good for us. We were on a growth curve as a company. We were approaching one of the common investors for the next round of funding, and they said, "Hey, why don't you do this together with Freshworks?" And Freshworks was Freshdesk back then, right? And it happened at a stage where probably Freshworks was still building a rung of leadership, so we fit right in, and we're pretty much able to operate as though we're a startup within the company. Okay. But of course, we keep the goals of Freshworks in mind as we build out.
Do you still have pushbacks or any kind of?
Not really. I think there's great alignment there because we have that common mission that we're all working towards. So it's worked out great for us.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from audience, please? Anyone? No? Okay, just last question for you.
Sure.
Have anybody? Okay. You're talking about the proactive measures you're taking. So as an entrepreneur, what are the tools that, or what are the, you can explain or give an example about proactive measures, what you're taking to make customers happy?
Right. So I think it is to an extent about figuring out the right signals before a problem happens, right?
Right.
So a great example, we recently had a hackathon at Freshworks, and one of the ideas that came out of that was, what if someone's performing some actions on your website, let's say they're rage clicking, right? So they're like clicking furiously because something's not working. That is a signal that the website can actually listen into and know that, hey, something's gone wrong here. Someone's clicking furiously, so something's clearly not working for them. Can we pop up at that moment and suggest that we help them out? That's just one example, but there's so many things we can do from soft signals that we're seeing from what people are doing on your website, or understanding that something went wrong and proactively creating a ticket on their behalf, because I think that's where IoT and other stuff comes into play, where let's say your printer's not working.
Somewhere.
Yeah, the printer can actually create a ticket on Fresh Service, and the IT team can look at it. So those are some of the experience that our teams are working on now in terms of making things proactive everywhere through the right kind of integrations and understanding what's happening on your products.
Okay. Thank you, Sri. Thank you for the
All right.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.